Next, we see about breast pathology. So we'll start with the risk factors causing breast cancer, then the precursor of breast cancer, which is DCIS, and then we'll see about the molecular classification of breast cancer, which is the most important topic for MCQs nowadays, and then a brief hint on the lobular carcinoma and Paget's disease. So coming to risk factors of breast cancer, we have hereditary causes and non-genetic causes. So in hereditary causes, we have BRCA1 mutation. So BRCA was a tumor suppressor gene which was involved in DNA repair, right? So BRCA1 and BRCA2, which are located on 17q and 13q respectively, are going to be mutated in hereditary cancers, which can predispose to multiple cancers involving the ovaries and the breast. Okay, so in mainly the breast and ovaries are involved. Also, male breast cancer. Male breast cancer is going to be associated with BRCA2. Okay. Other than that, we can also have prostatic cancers as well. Prostatic cancers and colon cancers also. So, TP53 mutation can be seen in Lee-Fraumeni syndrome. In Lee-Fraumeni syndrome, there is going to be multiple cancers throughout the body, one of which will be the breast cancer. Then, CHEK2 and PALB2 mutations. These are again involved in DNA repair. So, here again, you are going to have breast cancer. Okay, their chromosome locations are also quite important, so remember that. So in sporadic causes, you have any kind of cause which is going to increase the estrogen exposure. So hyperestrogenism, that can result in breast cancer. So whenever the patient has attained an early menarche and a late menopause, so obviously the time period during which she is exposed to estrogen is going to be increased. So that time it can, the patient is prone for developing breast cancer. So early menarche and late menopause are going to be causes for breast cancer. Other than that, even if she takes hormonal replacement therapy, so there again we are going to take estrogen only. So OCPs, so increased usage of HRT and OCPs, they have a susceptibility for developing breast cancer. While lactation, breastfeeding the kid, and also caffeine is protective for breast cancer. Okay, then DCIS is ductal carcinoma in situ. So as the name suggests, it is an in situ, meaning a pre-neoplastic condition. So this DCIS is going to develop into intraductal carcinoma. So invasive breast carcinoma, intraductal type. So likewise, we also have LCIS, which is lobular carcinoma in situ, which is a precursor for lobular carcinoma, invasive lobular carcinoma. Okay, so we'll see about DCIS here. So DCIS, we have various patterns of DCIS, the patterns of which will be this cribriform pattern here. So cribriform pattern is, it is looking like a sieve, right? So multiple holes are there in this. So it is going to appear like a sieve. But the surrounding this, it is going to be having the intact basement membrane. So the cells are not invading into the stroma over here. It is just intact here. And then there is going to be some amount of myoepithelial cells lining this duct still. So this is the entire duct which is filled up with this cell. And this is a cribriform pattern. While the next image is going to be a solid pattern of DCIS. So here this is an entire duct. All of these ducts are completely filled with cells. So this is called as a solid pattern of DCIS. Then there is a comedonecrosis kind of pattern. So comedo DCIS is in which this is the entire duct. And here the center part alone is filled with this necrosis. So this is called as comedonecrosis. Like a comedon it is appearing. So central comedonecrosis is there, surrounding which the entire duct is filled with cells. So it is a comedo DCIS. Previously it was called as comedocarcinoma. So comedocarcinoma, don't confuse it with carcinoma. It is just DCIS only. So comedo DCIS. Other than that, we also have papillary and micropapillary patterns of DCIS, in which the micropapillary pattern is going to have a very bad prognosis. So anywhere micropapillary pattern is present, it is going to cause bad prognosis. So since it's a pre-neoplastic condition, DCIS can progress on to breast cancer, and here the basement membrane is intact. So let's see about the molecular classification of breast cancer. This is the most important topic for MCQs here. Okay, so based on gene expression profiling, they had classified breast cancers into multiple subtypes. So starting with luminal A, luminal B, then we have HER2 enriched, then basal or triple negative breast cancer, which is TNBC, and Claudin low. So these 5 classes have been classified. So in luminal A, it is based on the expression of hormonal receptors. So whenever we get a breast case, we always put immunohistochemistry to see their luminal status or hormonal status. So we use estrogen receptor antibody, progesterone receptor, HER2 new, okay, and also Ki67, which gives the proliferation index. So whenever there is ER/PR positivity, it is going to have a kind of a good prognosis, because these patients can be given hormonal therapy targeting these receptors. So hormonal therapy can be given. So these patients will have a good prognosis. So in luminal A, if you see, luminal A and luminal B pattern, both of which will have the ER/PR positivity. So usually PR will be negative in luminal A, but still ER/PR positivity is seen in luminal A and B. But in luminal B, it is also going to have HER2/neu positivity. So HER2/neu is going to be negative in luminal A and positive in luminal B. And luminal A and B are going to be associated with BRCA mutations. So BRCA mutations can be seen in luminal types. So BRCA2 is responsible for male breast cancer also. Okay, so male breast cancer is usually associated with luminal B type especially. Then since there is HER2/neu mutation also here, it is going luminal B is going to have slightly a bad prognosis compared to luminal. So luminal A is the best prognosis of all, while luminal B will come next. Then comes and then you can target this hormonal receptors I've already mentioned. So then comes the HER2/neu enriched. So HER2 enriched group, as the name suggests, ER/PR is going to be negative and HER2/neu alone is going to be positive. So HER2/neu will be positive in this. And we can give treatment as targeting this HER2/neu as trastuzumab. Trastuzumab is an antibody, monoclonal antibody targeting the HER2/neu. So these patients can also benefit from this, but still it will have a poorer prognosis. While the fourth type will be the basal type or the triple negative breast cancer. So as the name suggests, it is going to have a basal type of phenotype. That is, all the hormonal receptors will be negative. So ER negative, PR negative, HER2/neu will be negative. All of it will be negative. And this is going to be associated with BRCA1 mutations. So BRCA2 was associated with luminal A and B. BRCA1 is associated with TNBC. Okay. And TNBC has the worst prognosis of all. Then Claudin low is the last subtype, in which there are going to be decreased cell addition molecules like Claudin, Occludin and ECAD. So all of these are cell addition molecules. These are going to be expressed in low levels. And other than that, this is also going to be triple negative only. ER/PR and HER2/neu will be negative in these cases as well. And here again, it is going to, since it's also kind of triple negative, it is also going to have a poor prognosis. So if you see this image, this is how the immunohistochemistry will appear. So the first image will be the histomorphology of a invasive ductal carcinoma. So these are all duct formations only, but it has invaded into the stroma. So this is the stroma, all this part, and here it is all coming into the stroma, right? So it has become invasive. So they are still forming some kind of ducts, and this is how an invasive ductal carcinoma will appear. And when you put immunohistochemistry to assess the luminal status, they might give these images. Just like a matching kind of questions they might ask. So ER and PR are going to be nuclear antigens. Okay, so they are going to be they'll stain the nucleus. So nuclear positivity will be seen in ER and PR, while for HER2/neu, if you see, it is going to have a membrane, a cytoplasmic membrane. The cell membrane is going to be highlighted in HER2/neu. And we have 3 scores in IC scoring the HER2/neu: 1+, 2+, and 3+, in which score 3+ is considered positive, 1+ is negative, and 2+ is equivocal, meaning it is kind of dicey, and you'll have to do further molecular testing to confirm whether HER2/neu is being expressed by the tumor or not. Okay, so remember, this is a score 3+, wherein complete and strong staining of the HER2/neu is present. So they might not give you the interpretation as such. So they'll give you ER image, PR image, HER2/neu image, and they'll ask what kind of mutation can you expect. Suppose they are giving a ER positive, PR positive, HER2/neu positive, and they are asking what kind of mutation can you expect. And if there is a BRCA2 option given in the option, you'll go for BRCA2 because it is a luminal B. Okay. Then we'll see about lobular carcinoma. So lobular carcinoma, here it is going to be multicentric and bilateral. So it has a propensity to have a bilaterality and multicentricity. Also, here the most important thing is there will be E-cadherin mutation. So E-cadherin was a cell addition molecule. So when the cell addition is not going to be there, the cells are going to go on singly. So they invade as a single cells. So this kind of discohesive cells are seen in lobular carcinoma. So anywhere E-cadherin mutation is there, you are going to have this single cells, and usually they have a classical signet ring kind of a morphology. So where else did we see the signet ring and single cell morphology? Yes, it was in gastric carcinoma. So in gastric carcinoma, in the diffuse infiltrating leather bottle appearance, right? So in the diffuse infiltrative subtype, you are again going to have the single file pattern associated with the signet ring cells and E-cadherin mutation. So in this image, if you see, they are going to be arranged as single cells. So each of these cells are either single or arranged as a linear pattern, like a line. So like in Indian file, it is going to, the army people, they go, no? So Indian file pattern or single file pattern is seen in lobular carcinoma. And here in this image, if I zoom it here, can you appreciate it is all having a, this is the individual cell over here. So the cell is having a displaced nucleus to the periphery, rest of the cell is appearing clear. So this is how a signet ring cell will appear. So this is all of these are signet ring cells. Single cells also present and linear pattern of these signet ring cells are also present. Next, we'll see about Paget's disease. Paget's disease, again, here it usually presents in the nipple area complex as a erythematous pruritic patches associated with scaling. So usually they'll confuse it with eczema, which is just a skin disease, but Paget's disease is going to be associated with neoplasm. And here what we see will be, there will be atypical tumor cells seen in the epidermis of the nipple area complex. So nipple area complex is going to be lined by stratified squamous epithelium. So stratified squamous epithelium is going to be there of it. So this is the stratified squamous epithelium, and in this you can either see clusters or single cells of this atypical tumor cells which have a pale cytoplasm with a irregular nucleus. So whenever you see a Paget's disease, you will have to suspect that there is some kind of DCIS or carcinoma in the breast. Okay, and it tends to be always unilateral. So in breast carcinoma, the most important thing will be the molecular classification. So molecular classification, you must know word to word.